You open their message. You wait. The screen stays blank. You check again. The cycle spins. Each glance pulls you deeper into a loop you don't name. You think it proves your worth. You think it keeps you seen. But it doesn't. It's a reflex. A quiet one. One you repeat without question. Invisible to yourself. Why do you wait for someone who doesn't reply? Is it loyalty or a trap you set? You assume their silence means you failed. You assume chasing will fix it. But what if the chase is the cage? Each time you check, you hand them a piece of your stillness. You don't see it erode. The weight grows, not in their absence, but in your pursuit. You lose ground. Not because they leave, but because you follow. The system cracks. Not loudly, silently. In the moments you don't pause, you surrender control. Epictetus said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Their silence is not your truth. It's a signal, not to react, but to detach. A tether snaps. You don't need to hold it. The quiet is enough if you let it be. When you chase their reply, who loses? You think it's them, their attention you need. But it's you. Each message sent, each story checked, is a step away from your center. You think you're proving something. You're only proving the loop owns you. Look at it. See the pattern. It's not new. It's old. And you've walked it before. You don't need their words to stand. Stop. Observe. The loop doesn't break by chasing. It breaks by standing still. Silence is where you begin. You think explaining your pain makes them see you. You type. You send. They read. They leave. The words vanish into their silence. You think clarity will shift them. You think your truth will hold weight. It doesn't. Explaining is a leash. You hand it over. Their control tightens. Not because they take, but because you give. What happens when you say nothing? Detach and see. Lesson 1. The reflex to please. You nod. You agree. You soften your words to keep them close. You think pleasing holds them. You think it proves your worth. It doesn't. Each time you bend, you chip at your own edges. You trade your stillness for their approval. The reflex is automatic. You don't see it. You smile through the strain and call it kindness. But it's not. It's a transaction. You give. They take. The balance tilts, and you don't notice. The cost isn't loud. It's quiet. A slow leak. Your voice fades. Your needs blur. You tell yourself it's temporary, just this once. But it's not. The pattern hardens. They expect your compliance. Now, you've trained them to. Each yes you offer, without question, builds their control. Not because they demand it, but because you allow it. You lose ground. Not in their eyes, but in your own. Invisible to yourself. Seneca wrote, "No one can harm you unless you consent." Their expectations are not your chains. Your agreement is. Pleasing is a reflex, not a duty. It's a loop you feed. You think it builds connection. It builds dependence. Their approval becomes your anchor, and it's sinking you. The truth is cold. You don't need their nod to stand. You need your own. Stop. Withdraw. Don't explain your pause. Don't justify your boundaries. Act as if your worth is not for sale. It isn't. Say less. Hold your line. Their reaction is not your burden. Let it pass. The discomfort is brief. The freedom lasts. You don't need to please to exist. You already do. You don't owe anything. The reflex to please is a silent trap, but not the only one. Another lies in what you seek when their silence cuts deeper. Lesson 2. Checking their silence. Their silence is a locked door. You knock. You check their story, their last scene. You wait for a sign. Nothing comes. You check again. The screen stays blank, and you feel it. Emptiness. Not loud, not sharp. A dull ache. You don't name. You think checking keeps you connected. You think it holds the thread. It doesn't. It's a reflex. A pull you don't question, dragging you from your center. Each glance at their silence costs you. Not time, not effort, but presence. You trade your quiet for their void. You tell yourself, it's just a habit, just a moment. But moments stack. They form a chain. You're not watching them. You're watching yourself erode. The loop is subtle. You don't see it tighten. They don't need to act. Your checking does it for them. Their absence grows heavier. Not because they're gone, but because you're still there. Marcus Aurelius said, "You need not be troubled by what others think, if you can focus on what is in your power. Their silence is not your truth, your attention is. Checking is a choice, not a need. It's a hook you bite. You think it brings clarity. It brings chaos. The truth is stark. You don't need their signal to stand. You need your own. Detach. Don't touch the screen. Don't refresh the feed. Let the silence sit untouched. It's not rejection. It's space. Your space. Hold it. Breathe through the urge. The pull fades. Their void is not your weight. Step back. Observe. The quiet is yours, if you claim it. The void is where it clears. Pain is a shadow. It moves with you. Step back. It shrinks. The urge to check is a tether, but not the only one. Another binds you when you try to make them understand. Lesson 3. Explaining your worth. You think they'll see you if you explain. You type out your truth. You send it. They read and leave. You try again. Words spill. Reasons, feelings, pleas. You think clarity will bind them. You think your case will hold. It doesn't. Each word you offer tightens their grip. Not because they care, but because you do. Explaining is a trap you set. The cost is silent. Not in their reply, but in your core. You pour yourself out and lose your ground. You think you're building a bridge. You're building a cage. Each message, each call, hands them your power. They don't need to respond. Your effort does it for them. The loop spins. You chase understanding and find rejection. Not loud, not clear. A quiet dismissal that cuts deeper than words. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Your worth is not a case to plead. It's a line to hold. Explaining feeds their control, not your peace. The truth is cold. You don't need their nod to exist. You need your own. Stop speaking where silence answers. Silence. Don't send the text. Don't make the call. Let the urge pass. It's not weakness, it's strength. Their response is not your measure. Refrain. Stand still. The quiet is your answer. Observe the loop. It breaks when you stop feeding it. You don't have to react. The need to explain pulls you, but not alone. Another reflex binds you when you cling to what's already gone. Lesson 4. Holding onto hope. You wait for them to change. You see their silence, their distance, and you spin a story. They'll come back. They'll see you. You hold onto hope like a rope over a cliff. You think it keeps you steady. You think it saves you. It doesn't. It's a weight. Each day you cling, you sink deeper. Not into them, but into a loop you built. The cost isn't in their absence. It's in your presence. You stay tethered to a version of them that doesn't exist. You replay their words, their glances, searching for meaning. You find none, yet you hold tighter. The loop feeds regret, not loud, but constant. A quiet ache that grows each time you hope blindly. They don't need to pull you. Your hope does it for them. You lose, not them, but your stillness. Seneca said, "You must let go of what is killing you, even if it feels like living." Hope is not a plan. It's a trap. Clinging blinds you to what is. Their distance is not a puzzle. It's a fact. Stop solving it. The truth is stark. You don't need their return to move. You need your own release. Break loop. Let the story drop. Don't search their silence for answers. There are none. Release the rope. It's not loss. It's freedom. Step back. Breathe. The quiet is your ground. Observe the urge to hope. It fades when you stop feeding it. Let go isn't weakness. Studies show 60% of people recheck ignored messages within an hour. The loop traps you. Hope blinds you, but not alone. Another reflex pulls you when you take their dismissal as your truth. Lesson 5. Absorbing their dismissal. They brush past your words. A nod, a shrug, then nothing. You feel it, but you stay. You reeked by swallowing the slight. You tell yourself it's small. You tell yourself it's fine. It's not. Each dismissal you absorb builds a weight. Not theirs, yours. You think accepting it keeps the peace. You think it proves your strength. It doesn't. It's a reflex that hands them your core. The cost is quiet, not in their coldness, but in your shame. You carry their disregard like a mark. It sinks in. You question your voice, your place. You wonder, was I wrong to speak? The loop spins. You take their silence as truth. You don't see it erode you. They don't need to push. Your acceptance pulls you down. The dismissal grows, not because they act, but because you let it. Marcus Aurelius said, "You can reject what doesn't serve you and still stand." Their disregard is not your mirror. Your reaction is. Absorbing it feeds their control. The truth is cold. You don't need their warmth to exist. You need your own line. Stop taking their weight. Observe. Don't swallow the slight. Let it pass untouched. It's not your truth. It's their limit. Stay still. Their nod doesn't define you. Your pause does. Breathe through the sting. The urge to react fades. Witness the pattern. It breaks when you stop carrying it. Silence isn't surrender. Their dismissal cuts, but not alone. Another reflex pulls you when you seek their eyes to feel whole. Lesson 6. Seeking their validation. I need their nod to feel enough. Their glance to know I'm seen. I wait for it. I shape my words, my steps, to earn it. I think their approval makes me whole. I think it holds me up. It doesn't. It's a whisper in my head, a reflex I don't name. Each time I seek their eyes, I lose my own. Validation is a chain I forge. The cost is silent, not in their response, but in my numbness. I chase their gaze and drift from my center. I tell myself it's just a moment, just a need. But moments stack. They form a loop. I don't see it tighten. Their approval becomes my measure. I bend to fit it. They don't need to pull. My seeking does it for them. I fade, not because they turn away, but because I look to them. Epictetus said, "Freedom is not needing others to define you. Their nod is not your truth. Your presence is." Seeking validation is a trap you set. The truth is stark. You don't need their light to stand. You need your own. Stop chasing shadows where you already exist. Self-command. Don't wait for their eyes. Don't shift for their nod. Stand without their weight. It's not loss, it's ground. Breathe through the pull. The urge to seek fades. Observe the loop. It breaks when you stop running. Say less. Your worth is already here. You don't owe anything. Weak self. If I try harder, they'll see me. Stoic self. Let them look. Stillness holds me. Their validation lures you, but not alone. Another reflex traps you when you replay their words in your mind. Lesson 7. Overthinking their motives. You replay their words, their pause, their glance. You search for intent. Why did they say it? Why did they leave? Your mind spins, crafting reasons, building stories. You think understanding them will free you. You think it will stop the ache. It doesn't. Overthinking is a machine you run. Each cycle pulls you deeper into a maze you don't see. The cost is not in their actions, but in your anxiety. You lose your quiet to their shadow. You tell yourself it's just a puzzle, just a moment. But moments stack. They form a system, one that runs you. You don't find answers. You find chaos. Their motives are not your truth. Your thoughts make them heavier. They don't need to act. Your mind does it for them. You drift, not because they hide, but because you seek. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Their reasons are not your burden. Your focus is. Overthinking is a loop you power. The truth is cold. You don't need their why to stand. You need your own pause. Stop building their story where yours should be. System reset. Pause. Don't chase their intent. Let the thoughts pass untouched. It's not clarity, it's noise. Breathe through the urge. The need to know fades. Observe the machine. It stops when you cut the power. Stay still. Your quiet is enough. Stillness is enough. The maze of their motives traps you, but not alone. Another reflex pulls you when you pursue their fleeting attention. Lesson 8. Chasing their attention. You see their name. Your thumb hovers over the screen. You type a message, then delete it. You wait for their glance, their reply. You think reaching out will pull them closer. You think it will make you seen. It doesn't. Chasing is a reflex you don't name. Each step toward them is a step from your core. Their attention becomes your tether, and it's fraying. The cost is silent, not in their distance, but in your emptiness. You pour your focus into their void. You tell yourself it's just a moment, just a try. But moments stack. They form a loop. You don't see it tighten. Their fleeting nod becomes your goal. You shift to fit their gaze. They don't need to pull. Your chase does it for them. You lose, not their presence, but your presence. Marcus Aurelius said, "Look within. Don't let another's nature disturb your own." Their attention is not your truth. Your focus is. Chasing is a hook you bite. The truth is stark. You don't need their eyes to stand. You need your own. Stop running where you already are. Unhook. Don't send the message. Don't check their story. Let the urge pass, untouched. It's not loss. It's ground. Breathe through the pull. The need to be seen fades. Observe the loop. It breaks when you stop moving. Not texting is your quiet. Not doing is power too. Marcus Aurelius wrote daily to himself, not others. He chose silence over explanation. You can too. Their attention lures you, but not alone. Another reflex binds you. When you hide, the pain they cause. Lesson 9. Suppressing your pain. You feel the sting. Their silence. Their slight. You push it down. You hide it behind a nod, a smile. You think suppressing keeps you strong. You think it holds you together. It doesn't. It's a reflex, a quiet fracture. Each time you bury the pain, it festers. Not in them, but in you. The weight grows, unseen, unbroken. The cost is not their act, but your silence. You lose your clarity to a fog you don't name. You tell yourself it's just a moment, just a choice. But choices stack. They form a chain. You don't see it bind you. Their dismissal becomes your burden. You carry it in your chest, in your quiet. They don't need to hurt you. Your suppression does it for them. You fade, not because they strike, but because you conceal. Epictetus said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." Pain is not your enemy. Hiding it is. Suppressing is a loop you tighten. The truth is cold. You don't need to bury, to stand. You need to see. Stop shielding their weight where yours should be. Release. Don't smile through the ache. Don't nod past the cut. Let it surface, untouched. It's not weakness. It's truth. Breathe through the rise. The urge to hide fades. Witness the pain. It moves when you stop holding it. Say less. Your quiet is your ground. Pain doesn't mean truth. Their pain binds you, but not alone. Another reflex pulls you when you beg for their understanding. Lesson 10. Begging for clarity. You ask why. You press for answers. Their silence, their distance. You think explaining your need will make them speak. You think begging will unlock their truth. It doesn't. Each question you ask hands them your power. You plead, and they withdraw. Explaining is a reflex you don't see. It builds their control, not your peace. The cost is quiet, but deep. Not in their refusal, but in your isolation. You chase their reasons and lose your ground. You tell yourself it's just a moment, just a try. But tries stack. They form a loop. You don't see it tighten. Their silence becomes your cage. You beg for clarity and find none. They don't need to answer your questions. Do it for them. You drift, not because they hide, but because you seek. Seneca said, "You have all you need if you look within." Their clarity is not your truth. Your stillness is. Begging is a chain you forge. The truth is stark. You don't need their words to stand. You need your own pause. Stop asking where silence answers. Refrain. Don't ask again. Don't press for why. Let the silence sit untouched. It's not loss. It's space. Breathe through the urge. The need to know fades. Observe the loop. It breaks when you stop chasing. Say less. Your quiet is enough. Detachment is a form of respect. Weak self. If I ask, they'll explain. Stoic self. Their silence is answer enough. Detach. Their silence traps you, but not alone. Another reflex pulls you when you fear their absence defines you. Lesson 11. Fearing their absence. You feel their distance, and it grips you. You think their absence means you're nothing. You wait, you watch, you brace for the void. You think holding on will keep you whole. You think fear will protect you. It doesn't. It's a reflex, a quiet panic. Each moment you dread pulls you from your core. Their absence becomes your chain, and you wear it. The cost is not their leaving, but your anxiety. You lose your ground to a shadow you don't name. You tell yourself it's just a moment, just a thought. But thoughts stack. They form a loop. You don't see it tighten. Their absence becomes your truth. You shrink to fit its weight. They don't need to act. Your fear does it for them. You fade, not because they're gone, but because you believe you need them. Epictetus said, "What need is there to fear? What you cannot control? Their absence is not your worth. Your presence is. Fearing is a trap you set. The truth is cold. You don't need their place to stand. You need your own. Stop bracing where you already are. Let go. Don't grip the thought. Don't watch the void. Let it pass. Untouched. It's not loss. It's freedom. Breathe through the pull. The fear fades. Observe the loop. It breaks when you stop feeding it. Stay still. Your quiet is enough. You can end without drama. Their absence haunts you, but not alone. Another reflex binds you when you deny their indifference. Lesson 12. Denying their indifference. Their indifference is a mirror. You see it, you feel it, but you look away. You tell yourself they care, they're just busy. They'll show it soon. You polish the mirror to change its reflection. You think dennying keeps you safe. You think it holds the bond. It doesn't. It's a reflex, a quiet lie. Each time you deny, you deepen your grief. The cost is silent, but heavy, not in their coldness, but in your emptiness. You trade your truth for their illusion. You tell yourself, it's just a moment, just a hope. But hopes stack. They form a loop. You don't see it bind you. Their indifference becomes your weight. You carry it in your chest, in your silence. They don't need to act. Your denial does it for them. You fade, not because they turn, but because you refuse to see. Marcus Aurelius said, "See things as they are, not as you wish them to be." Their indifference is not your failure. Your sight is. Denying is a chain you forge. The truth is stark. You don't need their warmth to stand. You need your own eyes. Stop polishing where the mirror is clear. Witness. Don't rewrite their silence. Don't soften their distance. Let it stand untouched. It's not loss. It's clarity. Breathe through the sting. The urge to deny fades. Observe the truth. It frees when you stop fighting it. Say less. Your quiet is your ground. See, that's enough. Their indifference blinds you, but not alone. Another reflex pulls you when you answer their silence with your own. Lesson 13. Reacting to their silence. Their silence lands heavy, cold. You feel it. You stir. You type a reply or check their absence again. You think reacting will break the quiet. You think it will make you seen. It doesn't. It's a reflex, a spark you don't question. Each move you make feeds their control, not because they speak, but because you answer. The loop spins and you're caught. The cost is not their void, but your regret. You lose your stillness to their weight. You tell yourself it's just a moment, just a response. But responses stack. They form a chain. You don't see it bind you. Their silence becomes your trigger. You act to fill the gap. They don't need to pull. Your reaction does it for them. You drift, Not because they're gone, but because you follow. Seneca said, "The wise man is not disturbed by what he cannot change." Their silence is not your truth. Your choice is. Reacting is a loop you power. The truth is cold. You don't need their voice to stand. You need your own pause. Stop answering where no one speaks. Be here. Don't fill the quiet. Don't chase the void. Let it sit untouched. It's not loss. It's space. Breathe through the urge. The need to act fades. Observe the reflex. It breaks when you stop moving. Not texting is your ground. You don't have to react. Their silence pulls you, but not alone. Another reflex binds you when you hold their words too tightly. Lesson 14. Clinging to their words. Their words echo. A promise, a glance, a moment. You hold them tight, replay them, shape them into truth. You think clinging keeps them close. You think it saves the bond. It doesn't. It's a reflex, a quiet grip. Each time you grasp, you lose your ground. Their words become your cage, and you lock it. The cost is not their voice, but your emptiness. You trade your presence for their shadow. You tell yourself it's just a memory, just a meaning. But meanings stack. They form a loop. You don't see it bind you. Their words become your anchor, sinking you. You hold to feel whole. They don't need to speak. Your clinging does it for them. You fade, not because they leave, but because you stay. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nothing belongs to you but your mind." Their words are not your truth. Your focus is. Clinging is a chain you forge. The truth is stark. You don't need their echo to stand. You need your own quiet. Stop holding where nothing holds you. Disengage. Don't replay the moment. Don't search the words. Let them pass, untouched. It's not loss. It's freedom. Breathe through the pull. The urge to hold fades. Observe the loop. It breaks when you stop grasping. Say less. Your quiet is enough. Let go isn't weakness. Studies show 70% of people dwell on past conversations daily, feeding loops that drain them. Their words bind you, but not alone. Another reflex pulls you when you hide from your own truth. Leçon 15. Avoiding your truth. I'll wait. Maybe they'll change. I'll stay. Maybe they'll see. I look away from what I know. I think avoiding keeps me safe. I think it holds the hope. It doesn't. It's a reflex, a quiet lie I tell myself. Each time I dodge the truth, I deepen my pain. Not theirs, mine. The weight grows, unseen, unbroken. The cost is silent, but heavy. Not in their actions, but in my numbness. I trade my clarity for their illusion. I tell myself, it's just a moment, just a pause. But pauses stack. They form a loop. I don't see it bind me. Their distance becomes my excuse. I hide to feel less. They don't need to act. My avoidance does it for them. I fade, not because they leave, but because I refuse to face. Epictetus said, "You cannot escape what you must confront. Your truth is not their fault. Your sight is. Avoiding is a chain you forge. The truth is stark. You don't need their change to stand. You need your own eyes. Stop running where you already stand. Ground. Don't look away. Don't soften the truth. Let it stand, untouched. It's not loss. It's clarity. Breathe through the sting. The urge to hide fades. Observe the reality. It frees when you stop fighting it. Say less. Your quiet is your strength. Stillness is enough. The truth you avoid traps you, but not alone. A moment of pause can shift the weight. The pause you take is a crack in the loop. You didn't chase. You didn't explain. You held still and felt it. Not their absence, but your presence. The quiet isn't empty. It's a signal, not to react, but to see. The weight lifts, not because they change, but because you stop carrying. Seneca wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." He faced betrayal, yet chose pause over pursuit. You can too. The pause you claim is a start, but not the end. The lessons you faced leave a mark, not of pain, but of clarity. Each reflex you break builds a line, not to hold them, but to hold you. You've seen the loops, the reflexes that bind, pleasing, chasing, explaining, clinging. Each one a tether you tied, not theirs, yours. The quiet you found isn't a cure. It's a mirror. It shows not their silence, but your choice. You don't need their words to stand. You need your own ground. The lessons aren't answers. They're cuts. Cold, clear, carving away what pulls you. Pain is a signal, not a sentence. Detach, and it speaks less. The mirror you face holds no judgment. It only reflects what you allow. Another pause can shift the weight again. The pause, it's not a finish. It's a line you draw. You didn't react this time. You didn't chase or plead. You stood in your silence, not to win them, but to keep you. Each lesson, each cut, is a step back to your center. Not their absence, but your presence holds the weight. The quiet isn't a void. It's your ground, if you claim it. Studies show 80% of people revisit past interactions weekly, prolonging their unrest. The loop is yours to break. The ground you hold is fragile, but real. The reflexes, they fade when you see them. One final pause can anchor you. You've traced the loops, the silent pulls, each reflex, a choice you made. Not theirs, yours. The pause you hold isn't escape, it's presence. You didn't check, didn't explain, didn't cling. You stood in your quiet. The weight, it shifts. Not because they move, but because you stop. Stillness isn't surrender. It's power, cold, clear, yours. Weak self, their silence means I failed. Stoic self, their silence means nothing. I stand. The quiet you claim is a beginning. One final step can hold you here. The step you take is not a victory. It's a return. You've seen the reflexes, the tethers you tied. Pleasing, chasing, denying, fearing. Each one a weight you carried. Not theirs, yours. You paused and felt it. Not their absence, but your ground. The quiet isn't a solution. It's a mirror. It shows not their silence, but your choice. You don't need their presence to stand. You need your own. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Choose silence over their noise." The mirror holds no answers, only truth. You've stepped back, not to flee, but to see. The quiet you hold is enough. The phone is off. The room quiet. Your hands rest, still. Nothing moves but your breath. You didn't chase. You didn't explain. You held the silence, and it held you. Not their absence, but your presence fills the space. The quiet isn't empty. It's yours. You stopped. This time, you didn't reach for their reply, their nod, their truth. You stayed with your own. The pause wasn't surrender. It was choice. A moment where you didn't lose ground. Detachment isn't loss. It's weight you no longer carry. What happens when you let their silence stand? Not as your truth, but as theirs. You don't answer it. You don't fill it. You observe and breathe. The loop doesn't pull you unless you move. Silence is a choice that weighs enough.